All right, everybody. Hello. It's Snack Size DFS coming up here in about 60 seconds on Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. This is our penultimate DFS episode for the NBA regular season. Coming at you from, my good buddy Brenton Eckersley will be with you, as I mentioned, in a second. Before I can get to Brenton, I got to tell you about our buddies at My Bookie. Yes, March Madness has wrapped, but that doesn't mean that my bookie's going anywhere. They're still right there. Every game, all the time. High stakes matchups, wild finishes, betting opportunities every stinking night. I hope you enjoyed Bet and Get during March Madness as well. And if you didn't get in on it, don't worry. They'll have another promo going very soon. Bet and Get was sweet because if you put any bet down on March Madness, you got a surprise reward like free bets, cash back, bonus chips for the casino. It was a sweet time. Head to My Bookie now. Why wait? Use promo code MM50. Boost your bankroll with a deposit bonus. It's MM50. That's designed to help you get the most out of your cash. But look, if you don't want the bonus, you want to have to do with the rollover stuff, that's okay. Use the promo code anyway, MM50. Just make sure that you let them know that we sent you here at Old Man Squad and through the Believe Network. My Bookie, bet on every game, anytime, from anywhere, only with My Bookie. Brenton Eckersley has your snack size DFS. If I could talk, I got to get out of the way.
Welcome, everyone. Brenton Eckersley here from Adelaide, South Australia, presenting Snack Size DFS, your condensed and abbreviated version of the DraftKings breakdown for the upcoming day slate. This one is for April the 8th, 2025. Thanks, Dan, as always, for the intro. Dan will be back at the end of the show. Just to let you guys know, this is my last week for Snack Size DFS for the 24-25 season. I'll probably do the Thursday games. I am going to skip the other two game cards as every single team is playing on both of those days. That wouldn't be Snack Size at all. That would be a full course meal. So we're just going to probably finish up with the Thursday games. Want to say thank you and that I appreciate all the support for Snack Size this season. New format for the Old Man Squad Network. The support's been amazing. So thank you so much. Let's not dilly-dally too much here, though, because we have 8 games to look at. There are actually 10 games on this Tuesday, April the 8th. NBA day, but there are 8 games in the main DraftKings card. So without further ado, without any more messing around, let's jump in. Here are your game notes for Tuesday, April the 8th. Game pace notes for you. The fast ones of the day: Memphis at Charlotte, Chicago at Cleveland, and there's already a game total of 238 up for Washington at Indiana. The slow one of the day is probably going to be that Pelicans Nets game, but there's a fair bit of value going on there in that game. Attack and stack. So attacking teams that give up fantasy points on the regular. Indiana, a pretty obvious one, versus Washington, and also my New Orleans Pelicans taking on Brooklyn, who did fix things up fairly well defensively over the last month or so, but have dropped back to being one of the easier teams to attack in the last 7 to 15 game days. Pace bumps. Memphis Grizzlies. That should be the other way around. It should be the Charlotte Hornets getting the nice pace bump versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Orlando, slowest team in the league. They will always get a pace bump, but a juicy one here versus Atlanta. And also the Lakers will get a small pace bump taking on OKC. Let's jump into the first of 8 games here. You will notice in this slate that there are a couple of teams I have almost zero interest in. And the first one, just let me explain. It's not that I have zero interest in Ja Morant or, Desmond Bain here on any given night. It's just that the pricing and the matchup don't really work for me here. So I have left off some pretty big names in this card. As we run through, you will see. The only guy I really have interest here in for Memphis is Zach Edey, the big guy at 5,400. He's had a price jump, but we know his yo-yo scoring can top out at that 40-point DK mark. And if he can get anywhere near that versus a fairly solid defensive unit at center of Charlotte, if Zach Edey can get even close to that, he will exceed value very, very easily here. As I mentioned, your Ja Morants, your Desmond Baines, your Jaren Jackson Jr.'s, even your Santi Aldamas and the like, I just find priced appropriately in a slowdown matchup, so I have left them out here. Oh, the other thing to mention, because we have two Monday games only. There are very, very few. In fact, there are 0 Monday, Tuesday back-to-backs, but there are quite a few Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-backs here, as we have 10 games total on the Tuesday, 10 on the Wednesday. So yeah, you'll see that repeat down the board here. Lots of Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-backs. The first one being Charlotte. They do get the nice pace bump here versus Memphis. The 3 guys I have my eyes on here are KJ Simpson at 5,400. We have no Damian Bowe. We have no LaMelo. So KJ Simpson's just going to soak up all the minutes he can eat here. 30 plus minutes in his last 5 games for Charlotte. DK ceiling versus Memphis here at point guard is possible. His ceiling is probably around 32 to 35 DK points. That's all he's been proving to us. But obviously that would be value at 5,400. And pace up spot. Point guard spot for Memphis is a great place to attack. So I like KJ Simpson here. The higher price guys on this team for Memphis, Miles Bridges, 9,100. His minutes have been low in the last 3, so that is just something to watch. It's something we've seen with Washington as well. As the season goes on, as these teams continue to go nowhere, the higher price guys or the star players in inverted commas are sometimes having their minutes reduced. It's something to watch. Bridges will still be the focus of the offense here with no LaMelo Ball, so I don't mind the price of 9,100 in that pace-up spot. We also know historically this season we can attack Memphis on the wings. Mark Williams is another one to look at here. Zach Edey, decent rim protector, doesn't really stop fantasy points though. 8,300 for Williams. His minutes are actually staying high, and he did drop 58 DK points versus Memphis earlier in the season. Let's move on to game number 2. Chicago taking on Cleveland, expected to be one of the fast games of the day. No back-to-back here for the Cavs, but a Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back again for Chicago. In the injury report, we have to take note here for Chicago. There is a lot going on. So at the moment, Josh Giddey and Nikola Vucevic, both questionable. If those guys don't play, I would be only looking at low price guys anywhere on the Chicago team, because this will just be a disgusting blowout. The outs for Chicago: Lonzo Ball, Kevin Huerter, Kobe White, that's a big one, Trey Jones, all out. So yeah, if we happen to see one or other of Vooch or Giddey out, this game has almost no chance of staying close, and I'd be hesitant on using high prices here. Vooch himself, 8,200. Yeah, if the 2 guys at the top of the board here play, then the usage will be there. We do have Kobe White out. We do have Kevin Huerter out, so shot attempts to go around. Just note that he's only had low 30 DK scoring, low 30-point DK scoring in a couple of matchups versus Cleveland this season. The 2 guys to look out here if Vooch can't go would be Zach Collins or Jalen Smith. If you can work out which one is going to start and get the minutes, then you are the Chicago Bulls center rotation soothsayer. I am not, but you could take swings at either of those guys if Vooch doesn't go here. Josh Giddey, questionable, as mentioned, high price, 9,900. But we do have now no Kobe White. We have no Kevin Huerter. We have no Lonzo Ball and no Trey Jones. So who's left? It is basically Josh Giddey. So 9,900 would be an okay price if he plays here. I don't mind attacking Cleveland at the guard spots. Not like the best matchup in the world or anything, but I have no issues. It's not like the toughest defensive spot to attack. So Giddey at 9,900, yeah, he would be in play if he goes here. The 2 lower price guys to look at: Martas Buzelis, yo-yo scoring again. He did have a nice couple of game run where he put up some really nice DK scoring for us, but it's back to just yo-yo scoring and minutes. We would get a usage spike here, and I would like this even more if Vucevic can't go. Right down the bottom of the dollar value table, Taylor Horton-Tucker. Oh, I don't like playing this guy, but 3,800 is undeniable if we have no Josh Giddey. With all of those other guards out, it is very hard to see Taylor Horton-Tucker not getting minutes here. He has to play, surely, 25 plus minutes maybe. He is an excellent points per minute guy. Keep on an eye on the news for Josh Giddey, and if he can't go with all the other guards out, THT is definitely in play. For the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell already ruled out for this one. So I like the spikes for Darius Garland, 7,800 as the high price guy. Ty Jerome at 4,500 would be probably my favorite play here already because Mitchell is out. And I don't mind stabs at DeAndre Hunter at 4,300 either. Mobley, Jarrett Allen, these guys are probably already appropriately priced, although historically we can attack the center spot for Chicago. So if you can find the money to slot in Jarrett Allen, I wouldn't be adverse to that either. Washington taking on Indiana. This is a fast one. Back-to-back here, Tuesday, Wednesday again for Washington, and no back-to-back for Indiana. A few things going on the injury report here. George in, that's Keyshawn George. Rashawn Holmes and Tristan Vukovic, both questionable. We already know that Malcolm Brogdon and Chris Middleton are ruled out for this one. The three guys I like for Washington, Keyshawn George, 5,900. His minutes might be a bit iffy coming back after a little injury there. And we also have a blowout risk. The last game was a 50-point blowout between these two teams. India all over Washington in that one. So we have to be careful. I have very little interest in Jordan Poole or Alex Sarr in this one. I just believe that if anyone's going to have minutes capped in a blowout, it is going to be those two guys. Therefore, I like a similarly priced Keyshawn George at 5,900. Bub Carrington, 5,600. So this guy's getting all the minutes he can handle right now. Even blowouts, close games, blowouts, it really doesn't matter. Carrington's playing 37 minutes plus in his last four, which is exactly what we want to see for a guard priced around 5,600. Yo-yo scoring still, but definitely in play with those kind of minutes going on. Colby Jones, 3,900. He is your pinata play here at the lower end of the dollar value. 3,900. His minutes have been fluctuating between 25 and 35 minutes, and his DK point scoring is all over the place as well. Sometimes we just got to mention a guy who does have some upside. He can get you 30 to 35 DK points if he finds his shot and a few peripheral stats. So he's a pinata play only, bottom of the table, 3,900 guy. Indiana. This is a tough one. We do have that 50-point blowout too. Keep in mind, in the last time these two teams played each other, I can't really see why it would be too much different here. Washington obviously pretty much just let go of their season, which is fair enough. On the injury report for the Pacers, Pascal Siakam and Shepherd, both questionable. Two guys here I'm interested in. One would be a play if you happen to think that Washington can keep it a bit closer than last time, because Tyrese Halliburton is in an absolutely beautiful spot versus Washington point guards. 9,100 is a pretty good price for Halliburton. Yeah, we got a blowout risk. Absolutely, we got to keep that in mind. But the Washington at point guard spot is just too hard to pass up sometimes. He did have 47 DK points in the last game in that 50-point blowout, 47 DK points in 25 minutes only. So if Washington can somehow keep this just a little bit closer, this $9,100 value will be fairly easy money. The other guy I like here further down in price is Obi Toppin at 4,700. He should get some extra minutes if this is a blowout. Can't see them really holding him back to those mid-20 minutes. He could be one of the first guys that spikes here in minutes. 26 DK points in only 16 minutes in that blowout. So once again, points per minute peak value here shown against the Washington Wizards. I like those two guys, Halliburton and Toppin. Okay, so I mentioned at the top that there are some teams here that I have almost zero interest in. And I tell you what, both of these teams, Atlanta, who are taking on Orlando in Orlando, I can't find guys here that I am very interested in. In fact, I have crossed the entire Atlanta team off of my wish list. Pricing, the horrible matchup due to pace of game and also just generally low DK scoring when teams play Orlando, I've put a line through Atlanta here. The only guy I would recommend or suggest you could still take stabs at here would be Trey at 10-1. On to Orlando, Tuesday, Wednesday, back-to-back here. They take on Atlanta, who historically over the season have given up a lot of fantasy points, but not so much in the last month or so. So, again, it's pretty hard to find guys here to actually like. The top of the board, Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, 9,800 and 8,800 respectively. Paolo's coming off a big one, 70 DK points versus Washington. But before that, we have to keep in, we can't just get sucked in by recent bias, right? He could do anything here versus Atlanta. I agree with that. I just like to play the odds where I feel the odds match up in pace. They match up in matchup, if that makes sense to you. We want to continue to play the odds in DFS and give us our best chance of outcome. So Paolo at 9,800, he just does not have the history versus Atlanta this season to prove to me he's going to make that price any kind of value. And also, as I was saying, his last DK outing was 70, but he put up 45, 36, and 42 DK points before that in the last 3 games. So 9,800, I don't see the value here, crossing him off the board for me. Franz Wagner, 8,800, 54 and 40 versus Atlanta previously this season, which is a little bit better at that price. If you can get up to that 54 DK point scoring, obviously it would be a better outcome for us. The 40 DK point output, though, worries me. Paolo, Franz, not that interested in here. Oh, damn it. I've left Caldwell Pope's price off here. I'm going to have to ask you guys to go and look that up. I'm very sorry. I believe it was around 4K. The only reason I've noted him here is he's coming off back-to-back big DK outings, 30 and 37. Yeah, that's right. Versus San Antonio and Washington, Atlanta are a little bit better defensively lately. This feels like a chase. So as I said, I wanted to explain why, but I have almost zero interest in this game. So I'm going to pass on it for the most part. I think we have better options elsewhere. Let's move into the next one. Speaking of options, so for those of you who are new to Snack Size DFS or haven't been here that long, I am a New Orleans Pelicans fan. Yes, it's been a tough season, but what I can tell you is that I do watch almost every single game of the Pelicans, so it gives me a little bit more insight. And some of these names here, such as Antonio Reeves for the Pels, you may not have even heard of, but he has been getting minutes. And the other one to keep in mind for the last week of the season is Keon Brooks, who's been playing some minutes at power forward. So this is the Pelicans taking on the Nets. The Nets are giving up a lot of fantasy points again lately. However, this will be a slow one in terms of game total. For the Pels, Bruce Brown is ruled in. Alvarado. Yeah, good spelling there. Alvarado and Kelly Olynyk both questionable for this one. So let's talk about Jose Alvarado. Questionable, as I said, 6,500, has a little price bump in the last week or so, but look at the field goal attempts in the last 3 games. 16 to 22 field goal attempts. Obviously, the Pels are very, very, very short-handed. Alvarado continues to play high minutes, and he did have 35 and 40 DK points in his last 2. Brooklyn at the guard spots certainly do not bother me. Alvarado is surely in play here. If Alvarado can't go, he is questionable, then you can almost just lock in Elfrid Payton, who is on his second two-way with the Pels, I want to say. Doesn't do much in the way of scoring, but can put up high assist numbers and get some peripheral stats as well in terms of a few rebounds and maybe some steals. 4,100 would be an okay play if Alvarado's out. For Elfrid Payton, guy I mentioned at the top here, Antonio Reeves, 4K. He's a pinata play for you here. He is very scoring dependent, but he is also capable of getting up shots. He's not shy, that's for sure. For a young guy, he is getting up shots at his own will. Willie Green's giving him a little bit of a green light lately. So 4K, scoring dependent guy, but capable of X value here, I would have thought. Bruce Brown, much more solid option here. 5,100 does a little bit of everything, this guy. If he can get some points in, I think he scored 0 points in the last game, but his peripheral stats are fantastic. He can get you 5 rebounds, 8 assists, or 6 rebounds, 7 assists, plus a couple of steals on his night. So 5,100. You can see his last 5 DK outings there: 36, 28, 27, 9. That's the game where he didn't score any points, I believe, and 36 DK points. So you can see the value there if Bruce Brown can get a few shots to fall. Eve Missy, 5,300. What a season for this guy as a rookie. He is coming off 33, 35, and 42 DK points. The dude is just a double machine at the moment. It really, this value comes down to scoring. If he can find a few easy shots at the basket, the rebounds are never a problem. He's up over double digits almost every single game. So if Eve can put in a few shots versus a fairly terrible Brooklyn team, I like this value at 5,300. Brooklyn. Okay, there's a lot going on today. Let's read the injury report first of all. Nick Claxton in. We've got multiple big names out here. It's Cam Johnson, it's Keon Johnson, it's D'Angelo Russell, and it is also Shaden Sharp. So I like Zaire Williams here at 4,600. The DK scoring and the minutes have been a little bit low lately, but with those names out, both Johnsons and D'Angelo Russell, I think that Zaire Williams has a bounce back game here at 4,600. Excuse me. I don't mind Nick Claxton here at 6,100. The usage should be up with some of those other names out. We know that he's capable of 45 DK points. And at the bottom of the barrel, Reece Beekman, basically we are running out of guards here for Brooklyn, especially with Russell out and Keon Johnson out. So Reece Beekman at 4K is a pinata play. He could have 30-point DK upside here. Okay, this is almost the exact opposite of the last game. It's Boston and New York. Both teams pretty healthy at the moment. Brunson and McBride probable for New York. Lots going on the injury report, but I do expect this to even out a fair bit versus the New York Knicks for Boston. At the moment, we have Derek White, Drew Holiday, both probable. We have Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, questionable, and we already have Horford ruled out. It's a back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday for Boston. No back-to-back for New York. So Boston like to play around with back-to-backs for sure and rest guys. I believe that this may be one versus the New York Knicks in a bit more of a tougher matchup and one they probably want to win. This may even out. We may see most of these guys play. But here we go if some guys do sit. Jason Tatum, questionable. Also Jaylen Brown, questionable. So Tatum at 10-2. I love this price if Jaylen Brown is out. We could have Porzingis sit, and then there's more usage. So this is going to be a little bit of fitting and swapping for me. I.e., if Jaylen Brown can't play, I like Tatum at 10-2. And by the way, the price for Jason Tatum in the last 2 weeks, I made some, jokes about it last time. He had an $800 price drop for no apparent reason, and then it swung back up to over about 11K before this game, and now they've dropped him back to 10-2 again. So when I see that kind of $800 price drop, I really like it. 10-2 for Jason Tatum, especially if Jaylen Brown is out, is a great play. Back the other way, Jaylen Brown, 8,700. Love this if Tatum sits, and probably if Tatum sits only. If Brown sits, then I believe you can look at Porzingis for an uptick in usage, even though his DK scoring has been fairly poor lately. Porzingis at 8,100 is a guy you can look at if there's no Brown, if there's no Tatum as well. Peyton Pritchard is my little favorite drop-in play when we have a big name, or preferably 2 big names, sitting on the Boston team. I would not be looking at Pritchard here if if all of these guys stay in. I would probably want 2 of them out, Porzingis, Tatum, or Brown. If 2 of them go out, then Peyton Pritchard at this $6,500 price would be in play. And a couple of guys you can take swings at. We know Horford is out already. If Porzingis can't go as well, then Luke Cornett at 5,200 will be entering smash territory. That would be only if Porzingis sits for me. It's probably still in play only with Horford out. Sam Hauser, 4,400 again. If we have 1 or 2 of the guys above sitting, Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, then I would be also okay to land on Sam Hauser for a low upside kind of dart throw at 4,400. Woo, lots going on, man. Come on, let's go, Brenton. We're nearly there. New York Knicks. We have Jalen Brunson back in recently. We also have Miles McBride probable for this game. I'm leaving big name guys out here as well. You can go, with your Karl Anthony Towns or your Jalen Brunsons here. I just don't like the matchup versus the Boston Celtics, one of the tougher teams defensively. That's where I prefer to look down the order and save a little bit of money. Karl Anthony Towns just hasn't been getting it done anyway, and Jalen Brunson on his way back from injury worries me. So the two guys I like here, OG Anunoby, 6,900. That's a price drop after putting up 50, 35, 41, 44, and 46 DK points. So, okay, DraftKings, I don't get the reasoning sometimes. Price drop there is absolutely lovely for me. Steamrolling at the moment is OG Anunoby. This is probably the safest floor play on the slate for me. Josh Hart, a little bit more of an upside swing chase here, 7,300. It's a good price for Hart regardless. He has been as high as $8,400 this DraftKings season, and we know that the dude is capable of 44 to 50 DK points any given night. Does he do it here versus Boston? Maybe not, but I still find that 7,300 price tag enticing. The Timberwolves taking on the Bucks. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, sorry, let's go back. No back-to-backs here for either team. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, Terrence Shannon Jr. is 8, apparently. He's 8, so very young to be playing in the NBA. Terrence Shannon Jr. is obviously out, not 8. Just a note there that the positions we can attack at Milwaukee are the shooting guard and small forward position. There is a little bit of tantalizing value at the power forward position as well. So therefore, Anthony Edwards, who has not made my list in the last couple of recordings, 9,400. It's a great price for Ant. It's a price drop. This has been right around value, but as I said, it's those 2 and 3 positions for the Milwaukee Bucks that we can attack here. I believe there's some really nice upside here tonight for Anthony Edwards at 9,400. Julius Randle, 7,300. Big discount. And also capable of big scores is Mr. Randall. His last 2 have been horrible, mid-20s, I want to say. Yes, I've recorded that there, mid-20s. Another good spot here at power forward versus Milwaukee. I expect to bounce back here at a nice price for Julius Randle of 7,300. Notes here for Rudy Gobert. Has made my list the last few recordings. 6,600 is still a great price. However, he's been beating up on the teams where you expect to get fantasy points out of the opposing center position. Milwaukee is not that. So, yes, the history is there. He's been absolutely smashing things lately. The usage is out of control. The rebounds are through the roof. 6,600 is still a pretty decent price for Rudy Gobert. I would just be worried about the matchup. The other guy you can look at here is Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who has been doing some good things with DK scoring lately, capable of 10x value any given night. I obviously prefer him when other guys are out, but shooting guard versus Milwaukee, once again, we can attack that spot. If you have to land here way down at this bottom dollar price, then I would be looking at Alexander Walker at 3,600 rather than some other guys in the card. Let's move on to Milwaukee. Giannis, 12.6, another price jump and a worthy one. Like, he's just been absolutely smashing out the DK scores now that Dame is not there. And Giannis is my favorite high price guy on the board tonight. It's a high price. I think he's the highest price of the slate at 12.6. Absolutely capable of everything, anything and everything with Dame Lillard out. It's not a bad matchup versus Minnesota, and I do like this price for Giannis. The other 2 guys that I'm interested in here, Brook Lopez, I kind of have okay interest here. He's a pinata play. Obviously, usage has to go elsewhere. No interest in Kyle Kuzma here. Excuse me again, frog in the throat today. I think I may be coming down with something. Brook Lopez, 6,400 is a pinata play. Also note that Bobby Portis is now back from his suspension, so that may limit some minutes and upside for Brook Lopez, but I still don't mind the price with no Lillard. Kevin Porter Jr. is the guy with no Lillard. I've been kind of watching, your Gary Trent Jr.'s and other guys, Torian Prince, to see which way these usage and minutes will swing. It's all Kevin Porter Jr., one of my favorite low price plays of the day at 4,800. I don't think we need to say much more there. He's been killing it in the last 2 games. Minutes high, DK scoring through the roof. Eat that chalk. The Lakers taking on OKC. I believe this is the last one of the day. This will be a slow one, but the Lakers do get a slight pace bump here. I really apologize, guys. Sorry, my throat is tickling me something awful. And to go back and edit for a couple of coughs takes up about another half an hour of my time. So I'm just, going to apologize and move on. The Lakers and the Thunder. This is a back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday for both teams. At the moment, a fair bit going on the injury report for the Lakers in a pace-up matchup. Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent, all questionable. So a little bit of playing around with the back-to-back going on here. It is a marquee matchup, much like the Boston-New York game. I expect most of these guys to play. There would have to be an actual injury concern here for anyone to not play at these high prices. So let's look at these guys. Doncic, questionable, 12,300. Price back up. I prefer Giannis. 53 versus OKC only. Oh, that's right. These teams played each other the last game. So we have very recent history. None of the high price guys really got it done down the list here for either team. Again, apologies. We're nearly there, guys. We're nearly there. My throat will be thankful when we finish up. I only like this for Doncic if LeBron sits. LeBron James back the other way, 10-3. Similarly, I'm only playing this if Luka does not play. Okay, slight pause there. I apologize, guys. I absolutely had to take a break or I was not going to make it through to the end of this episode. I believe we talked about Luka. We talked about LeBron. I'm only interested if one or the other sits. Austin Reeves at 8,800. This is a little price drop. And again, I only like Austin here. If one of the big two of this team sits out, I have little interest in any of the peripheral guys here. Oh, no, we could look at Jordan Goodwin if LeBron sits, and I believe that Gabe Vincent will be a play if Luka sits. Last team of the day, thank goodness, as I am dying a little bit over here today. I do apologize. As I mentioned, Tuesday, Wednesday, back-to-back for OKC. The only real guy on the injury report to worry about here, Jalen Williams, is questionable. AJ Mitchell already ruled out. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 11-4. It's a nice little price drop for Shai. I still prefer Giannis here at that higher price of 12-6. 47 DK points in that last game that was played between these two teams a couple of days ago. He did have 63 DK points on the Lakers earlier, making him an okay option. I just prefer Giannis. The guy I'm really interested in here, Jalen Williams, J-Dub. 8,400. That's Jalen Williams. Only 34 DK points in that game a couple of days ago, but he had a horrible shooting night of 4 of 14 field goal attempts. This could be a really nice bounce back for Jalen Williams if you land in that mid to high price area of 8 to 9K. Cason Wallace, the only other guy I'm interested in here for the Oklahoma City Thunder, 4,200. His minutes are the most stable out of all of the wing guys for the Thunder, into the high 20s and low 30 minutes on most nights. He had a couple of horrible nights as well, but he is capable of good value here on the Thunder team. My favorite plays of the day, KJ Simpson and Miles Bridges versus Memphis. We've got Darius Garland and Ty Jerome. I love that Ty Jerome play with Mitchell out versus Chicago. Bub Carrington taking on Indiana with some high minutes lately. Halliburton versus Washington. Watch the blowout. Bruce Brown and Eve Missy versus Brooklyn should both exceed value. Jason Tatum is a good high-price guy versus New York, especially if we have no Jaylen Brown or Kristaps Porzingis. The two mid-price guys from New York, Anunoby and Josh Hart, taking on Boston back the other way. And Edwards, another good high-price guy here. Sometimes we can't get all the way up to your Giannis's and those type of prices. So Edwards would be my favorite play outside of the Giannis play at a lower price versus Milwaukee. Giannis, as I mentioned, versus Minnesota, my favorite play of the day. And also we have Jalen Williams versus the Lakers. That's it for me today, guys. I really appreciate you sticking with me. It is a little bit of a longer one when we have 8 games to get through. And I appreciate you sitting by while I have some coughing and spluttering going on today. I really hope I'm not getting sick because I want to get through this last day together on Thursday for Snack Size DFS. That's it for me today. It's back to Dan in the studio. Thank you for watching.
Thanks as always, Brenton. Let's wrap this bad boy up. If you've made it this far, you got to subscribe. Don't worry. Yes, Brenton only has one more show this NBA season, but he'll be back for 2025, 2026. We've got off-season content, basketball all off-season long. We've got baseball shows that pop up from time to time. We continue to grow here at Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. Myself, Brenton Eckersley, Slick Rock, Adam King bringing all of his shows over here to Old Man Squad. And we have an announcement on my show. If you subscribe, make sure you get that on Tuesday morning. Brand new member of the Old Man Squad Sports Network, bringing his fantasy knowledge to the table as well. So lots of good reasons to hang out with us here. I'm Dan. Thanks so much for everything you guys have done all season long. Big thank you to Brenton, Terrain72 on social media, Old Man Squad. That's where you can find the network feed on social media. And I'll see you guys when I see you. Hopefully soon if you subscribe.